Good morning, students. I hope you all are doing good at home. Today, we will begin with the new chapter, that is, chapter number 3, Business Environment. Let us start. The first topic is meaning of business environment. Let us first understand what is the meaning of the word business environment. See, business environment, if in the simple and very easy way, if we will try to understand the meaning of business environment, let us first understand what do you mean by the word environment. Students, what do you mean by the word environment? Environment means our surrounding, okay, in which we live. Environment means our surroundings. Now, what do you mean by business environment? Business environment means the surroundings of the business, okay. So business environment, so in that way we can say that what is business environment? Business environment is the surroundings in which the business exists. What is business environment? Business environment is the surroundings in which business exists. Now, coming to the first point, let us see. The sum total of individuals, institutions, and other forces that are outside the control of business enterprise. The sum total of individuals, institutions, and other forces that are outside the control of business enterprise but that may affect its performance. What does that mean? See, business environment means what? Business environment refers to all those forces or the factors, or whether it is an individual or an institution, which are outside the control of the business enterprise, but these may affect its performance. See, what does this mean? Generally, business environment is what? Business environment is the surrounding of the business in which business exists, okay. Now, let's suppose if there is any change in the environment, okay, if there is any change in the surrounding of the business, then definitely it is going to affect the business, okay. So if there is any change in the environment of the business in which the business exists, then it will affect the performance of the business. That is why it is said that business environment is what? Business environment can be its individual. What? See, business environment means the surrounding, right? The surrounding can be anything. The surrounding can be any institution, the surrounding can be any individual, or surrounding can be any other force, okay. And all these factors and all these things are outside the control of business. What does it mean? It means that the business cannot control all these forces. Means the business do not have any control on them, okay. But it may affect its performance, right? Means these are something which actually affect the performance of the business, and the business do not have any control over it. Means the business cannot control these factors. Let's understand this meaning with the help of some examples. For example, let us see. First is, technological changes may exist, right? See, in business environment we are studying about the changes, okay, that the changes which happens in your environment, okay. According to that change, like we have studied in our previous chapters also, like our environment keeps on changing. Like environment means what? There are many things which exist in our environment, okay. And those things, when they change, then the business also has to change themselves according to the environment, okay. In the same way, when there is any change, for example, let's take the example of technological change. If there is any change technologically in our environment, then there may be change in the business also at the same time, okay. Because the business has to what? Cope up with the rapid changes of the technological environment, okay. So for example, see, if there is continuous and like precedent change in the technology, okay, if the technology is continuously changing, okay, then the products or the technology which we have, like which we used to use, like it becomes obsolete, or it becomes out of date, okay. So due to this changes, what happens? The company or the business has to adopt the new technology, okay, because if he will be like continuing with the old technology, then nothing will, like no performance will be improved, okay. Then therefore it is said that any changes, okay, any changes which happens outside the business environment, and anyhow it affects the performance of the business environment, because due to that change the business also has to change their things, okay, right. Like the technology change, for example, there is change in the fashion and taste of the consumer, okay. Why change in the fashion and taste of the consumer may shift the demand in the market from existing products to new one. As you all know that whenever there is change in the fashion and taste of the consumer, okay, so the people or the generally the public demand the product which is currently on trend, which is going on trend, okay. They do not demand the older or the outdated products, okay. In the same way it is said that whatever the changes are, whether it be the demand of the consumers, okay, whether it be the change in fashion, whether it be the technological changes, any changes in the environment, whatever the changes comes, okay, the business also have to change themselves, because these are the forces or these are the factors, because of them only the performance of the business what affects, right. So that is why we say the business environment is what, the business environment is sum total of all, means it consists of individuals also, okay. It consists of individuals mean the consumers and all, okay, and institutions, many other institutions, okay, public institution, private institution, or any government institution. If government institution is changing any policies, then the business houses also get those, like business house also get affected by those change in policies by the government institutions, for example. And there are many other forces, means these are all the factors or these are all the forces due to which the business gets affected, okay. And these forces are something which cannot be controlled by the business enterprise, right. For example, change in fashion and taste of the like consumers may shift the demand in the market from existing products to new one, right. The demands are changing, the consumers demands are changing constantly, the trends are changing, the fashions are changing, taste of the consumers are changing. So these factors a businessman or the business house cannot control these things, okay. So these things are something which are outside the control of the business. The businessman cannot control all these things, so that is why it is said that it is outside the control of business enterprise. But then also it has the it puts great impact on the performance of the business, okay. Now see, these environment forces exist outside the enterprise, but they influence the business enterprises. Since environment factors influence business enterprises, so it becomes very essential for the businessmen to do environment scanning, okay. It is very much necessary for the business houses to do the environment scanning means, or environment scanning means complete awareness and understanding of the environment, okay. The businessman should have complete understanding and the awareness of the business environment, that what all changes are like going on in the environment, or what all the changes are upcoming, okay. They have to be completely aware and they should understand the business environment, because if they will not understand the upcoming changes, then how will they be able to apply those changes in the business, okay. That is why they need to be completely aware and they need to understand their business environment, means they need to completely check what all changes are what all upcoming changes are made in the environment, and according to the environment their working will also change, okay. The working of the business will also change according to the change in environment. Now see, second point, part of business environment like economic force, social force, political force, technological force, legal and other force. Like see, these are the forces, okay. These are the forces which actually categorized in the business environment category. Part of business environment, there are different kinds of changes, okay. See, as we have studied, there are technological changes, means when the new technology comes, the old technology becomes obsolete or out of date. Okay, so in the same way there are different changes. There can be economic changes, okay, there can be social changes, the changes which comes in society. There can be political changes, means the changes which are brought by the political institutions. There can be technological changes, okay. There can be legal and the other changes. Legal and other changes means whatever the policies or whatever the laws which are formed by the court of law. Okay, due to that also business gets affected. So these are some forces, or these are some dimensions of business environment which we are going to study in detail. Okay, so because of these factors, because of these forces, the business performance gets affected. Okay, now we will study all these points in detail in our further topics. Now, moving to the next topic, that is nature, features, characteristics of business environment. Now let us understand what is the main feature characteristics of business environment. Now see, you can memorize the characteristics features of business environment by using this acronym, that is DISTURB-C. Okay, like first point dynamic nature, second interrelatedness, third specific and general forces, fourth totality of external forces, fifth uncertainty, sixth relativity, seventh complexity. Okay, D I S T U R C. B is cut. Okay, so this can be DISTURB-C. You can easily memorize this by using the acronym. Now let us understand all these points in detail. Coming to the first point, that is dynamic. Now we know that business environment, it is said that business environment is dynamic. We very well know the meaning of dynamic. Dynamic means which keeps on changing, right? Now business environment is dynamic in nature, which keeps on changing with time. It may be change in technology, fashion, taste, etc. Means business environment, as we are talking, the surrounding of the business. Okay, the surrounding of the business keeps on changing, and surrounding does not comprises of any particular one type of change. There can be many type of change. Okay, there can be technological change, there can be political change, there can be economic change, many kinds of changes are there. Okay, so business environment is dynamic means these, the environment, okay, the environment in which the business exists, it keeps on changing, okay, with the time. It may be change in technology, fashion, taste, etc. There can be any change. There can be change in technology, there can be change in the fashion and taste, there can be change in any government policies, there can be change in any laws. Okay, so there can be any change in the environment. That is why it is said that the business environment is dynamic in nature, because business environment keeps on changing with time. Okay, now coming to the next point, that is interrelatedness. Interrelated means the business environment, means all the components of the business environment are interdependent, they are dependent upon each other. Let us see how. All the forces and the factors of business environment are closely interrelated. For example, increased awareness of healthcare has raised the demand for the organic food, right? For example, see, interrelated means all the forces or all the factors, as we are seeing that there are many changes in the environment. Okay, like what? Technological changes, okay, social changes, political changes, many changes occurs. Okay, so one change depends upon other. Okay, they are all interrelated, they all depend upon each other. All the changes or all the factors, all the forces depend upon each other. Okay, as we know that increase in awareness of healthcare, as the people are getting more aware about their health, or getting more concerned about their health, it has raised the demand of organic food. Means the businessmen started producing what? The organic food. Because of whom? Because of the demand of the consumers. Means because of the demand of the consumers, or because of their awareness regarding to their health, or because of their inclination towards the healthcare, what they started demanding the organic food. And to fulfill their demand, the organization or the business houses has to what? Produce the organic food. Okay, so these are something which we call as interrelatedness. Okay, because in this way we say how they are interrelated. For example, see, with inclination of youth towards western culture, like nowadays the people are more attracted towards western culture, so they are demanding more of fast food. Okay, because of them the fast food chains are increasing, because the youth are more inclined towards the western culture, and because of their demand and because of their preference, what the business houses are what establishing new fast food chains. Okay, so this way we try to understand that because of one factor. What is the one factor? The demand or the preference of the consumer. The business houses has to what adopt the changes, and they have to work according to the changes what is going on in the environment, right? Now coming to the next, that is specific and general forces. Means business environment, some in business environment some forces are specific forces and some forces are general forces. Let us understand this. Business environment includes both specific and general forces. Specific forces influence business firm directly, while general forces affect a firm indirectly. As you know that specific forces are the forces which can influence the firm directly, means which has the direct impact on the business. Okay, and general forces are the forces which do not have direct impact on the business, like indirectly they somewhere affect the business, okay, and their performance. Like for example, see, specific forces are what forces? Okay, specific forces are generally the forces which has the direct and severe impact in the performance of the company. These forces can be your suppliers, your investors, your customers. These are the forces. Means what? See, specific forces, these are the one who are directly related with your business. The supplier, the investors, the customers, these are the direct forces, means they are actually directly related to your business. Suppliers who supply the raw materials to the business houses, because until and unless they supply you the raw material, you'll not be able to start the production work. Okay, so these are some direct supply, like these are some direct forces, or these are the specific forces. Okay, and if any changes comes in them, then directly your business is going to impact. For example, let us understand the suppliers. So the suppliers comes under specific force, right? If the supplier will say one day that he does not have the raw material, okay, then if he will not supply you the raw material, if he does not has the raw material with him in the warehouse, then how will you start your business? How will you continue your production activity? Okay, your production activity will stop. So directly they are affecting your business. Okay, directly they are putting an impact on your business. If the raw materials are not there, how will you start the production work? So these are called the specific forces, which directly means the working of the specific forces directly impact your business. Okay, now coming to the general forces. General forces are the other forces, like your social forces or your technological changes. These are the general changes, means indirectly somewhere they get impacted. Okay, means indirectly they put some impact on your business, like change in technology, adopting new technologies. Many companies or many business houses are there who generally don't cope up with the change, or who generally don't adopt the new technologies or the latest technologies. Then also the business tends to continue, then also their business are running. Okay, so these changes are some changes which cannot directly impact, but they somewhere they impact on the business, not directly but indirectly. Okay, so that is why it is said that business forces are specific also, and there are general forces. Specific forces are the forces which directly put an impact on the business, and general forces are the forces which are not directly putting an impact on the business, but somewhere somehow they are affecting the business indirectly. Coming to the next point, fourth point, that is totality of external force. See, business environment is formed by what? Business environment is formed by total of external force. Okay, all the external force together is known as your business environment. Business environment is the sum total of all the factors or the force external to a business firm, means they exist outside the business firm. Okay, business forces, okay, sorry, external forces. Okay, business environment, what do you mean by business environment? Business environment are the sum total of all the forces or all the factors which are actually outside the business firm. It means that the business do not have control on all that forces, because all those forces are the external forces. Okay, now see, there are many internal in an business, like if you will try to understand business environment, in business environment there are two forces, okay. There, like you very well know, there is internal environment and there is external environment, okay. Now internal forces are there and external forces are there, okay. Internal forces, in internal forces we can say the employees who are working inside the organization, those are the part of internal factors, okay, internal forces. But they do not, like they are not called as the business environment, okay. We generally say the business environment, we generally say the business environment means our external forces. The internal factors such as the employees or superior subordinate, they are not the part of business environment, okay. So the factors which are outside the business organization, okay, which in that is generally included in the business environment, right, which are external forces which are outside the business environment, like your technological changes, like your political changes, your legal forces, all those forces are the external forces which are outside the business organization. They are the part of the business environment, right. That is why it is known as totality of external forces, because the business environment is the sum total of external forces, okay. The internal forces are not included in the business environment. Now coming to the fifth point, that is uncertainty. As you very well know the meaning of uncertainty, uncertain means which actually, which anything which is not certain, okay. We are not certain about that thing, we are not sure about that thing, okay. So business environment is uncertain because whatever the changes which occur in the business environment, it is completely uncertain, we are not sure of anything, okay. Let us understand this. Business environment is uncertain as it is difficult to predict the future environment changes and their impact with full accuracy, correct. As we have studied earlier also, like the business or like the future is uncertain, nobody can actually predict the future and nobody can actually predict what all changes may occur in future, okay. And what will be their impact on the business, nobody can predict that, okay. The business houses, they just can make assumptions but they cannot be like certain about some things, they cannot be sure of all that, okay. So that is why it is said that the business environment means whatever the changes are occurring in the environment, all those changes are uncertain, they are not sure whether it will happen or not, and they are not sure that what is going to come up next, okay. So that is why it is said that business environment is uncertain. Coming to the next point, that is relativity. Relativity, by the word itself you can identify, relativity means related to each other. How? Let us understand. Business environment is a relative concept, means business environment is relative in nature. How? Whose impact differs from country to country. For example, say demand for ready to eat healthy food will be more in urban areas than in rural areas, right. For example, see, business environment is environment which actually depends upon the place, okay. It depends from place to place, like it is different in different country and region to region, place to place, business to business, it depends, okay. It is completely different, okay. It is related to that place itself, means whatever the changes are, means if any changes occur in the environment, okay, then it will not be same for everyone, or it will not be same for every, like it will not be same for every business houses, okay. The same condition has different impact on different business, okay. Means the same condition or the same changes may have different impact on different business, because all the business houses are different, their environment is different, okay. They belong to different country, they belong to different region, so that is why the impact will also be different, okay. So that is why it is said that, for example, demand for ready to eat food, healthy food, okay. Generally, like we tend to, like when we go to metro cities or some urban area, then we actually purchase ready to eat healthy food, okay, which is more in the urban areas. Rural areas doesn't prefer that, okay. So whatever the changes which are adopted by the urban area, the same changes may not be adopted by the rural areas, right. They belong to, like they are completely different area. So whatever the changes are adopted by the urban area, it is not necessary that all those changes will be adopted in the rural area also by the businessman. That is why it is said that It is relative in nature, means business environment is relative in nature, means business environment depends upon different countries, different region and different firms, and accordingly it has the impact on them. For example, let us understand a very common and very simple example, like there may be more demand for saris in India as compared to USA or UK, right? Because the people of India prefer to wear saris. Okay, generally the women are the one who actually wear saris. Okay, so the preference of saris in India are more as compared to USA and UK. Okay, so the changes, so the business, generally the business house or the business here, generally in India, they will be what, the manufacturing business or the business who are selling the saris, they will be manufacturing more saris and the business will be selling more saris. Okay, rather than selling saris USA or rather than selling the saris in USA or UK, they will sell saris in India. So depending upon the region, depending upon the country, depending upon the preference and the requirement of that particular region only, there the business environment will impact, or business environment will have the impact on those business houses depending upon their area. Okay, the same condition has different impact on different business. Now coming to the next point, that is complexity. Now business environment is complex in nature. Complex means it's very difficult. Okay, it's not easy to understand the business environment. How? See, business environment is complex, which is easy to understand in parts separately, but it is difficult to understand in totality. Very correct. For example, see, complexity. What do you mean by complexity? Complexity means it is very difficult to understand, means it is very difficult to understand the impact of the business environment on the companies. Okay, means although it is easy to scan the environment, but it is very difficult to know how these changes will influence the business decisions, right? For example, if there is any change in the government policy to increase the tax by 5%, okay, it may affect the income of the company. Okay, so in this way, what generally it says that the business environment is very complex, because we do not know what all changes are upcoming and how those changes are going to impact or put an effect on our business. Okay, so that is why to completely understand the business environment, or to completely be aware of the business environment, or to completely like to scan the business environment and to read the business environment, to study about the business environment, it is a very complex process. It is not an easy process to understand the business environment, or to understand what all changes will come in near future and how those changes are going to affect the business. This is very complex. It's not easy to understand all these things. Okay, so here we have completed our nature, features, characteristics of business environment. Okay, that is, business environment is dynamic in nature, means it keeps on, like, business environment keeps on changing. It is interrelatedness, means it is like what, all components of business environment are interdependent on each other. Third, specific and general forces. Okay, we have studied first dynamic, second interrelatedness, third is specific and general forces. Specific and general forces means the force is specific, means which affect your business only directly, and general means which affect your business indirectly. Now the fourth is totality of external forces. Totality of external forces means the factor outside the business organization are included in the business environment. Okay, they are the external forces. Uncertainty means, uncertainty, no one can predict business environment 100% accurately, right? Sixth, relativity says that same condition has different impact on different business depending upon the region, country or firm. Seventh is complexity. Complexity means it is difficult to scan and understand the environment changes. Okay, so here we are clear with the meaning of business environment. What is the meaning of business environment and the nature, features and characteristics of business environment. Now let us move to the next topic, that is importance of business environment. Now what is the significance of business environment, or why it is needed to understand the business environment? Let us start. The first is identification of opportunities to get the first mover advantage, means identification of opportunities, to identify the opportunity to get the first mover advantage. Okay, let us understand this point. Understanding of business environment helps an organization in identifying advantageous opportunities and getting their benefits prior to the competitors. Okay, identifying advantageous opportunities and getting their benefit prior to competitors. For example, see, we will try to understand this with the help of an example. Why it is important to study the business environment? See, why it is important for the business house to come to actually focus on what all the changes are upcoming? Because as you know that, for like in an environment or in the market, there are different business houses who are producing same category of the products. Okay, there are many houses which who are producing like who are actually producing the same type of products, the same range of products. They are producing one and the same kind of the products. Okay, so there will be competition among them. Okay, so why it is necessary for the business environment, why it is necessary for the business houses to understand about the business environment, or to generally to be aware about what all changes comes? Because they have to identify advantageous opportunity, because they have to grab the opportunities. Okay, and they have to grab the opportunity, and by grabbing those opportunity, what will happen? They will be benefited prior to the competitors. As you know that in market there are many competitors, but it depends how you grab the opportunity, how the business house grab the opportunities. if you want to if you want to defeat your competitors, means if you want to go above your competitors, then you have to be very much aware about the environment, what all changes occurs in the environment, so that you can adopt all those changes more quickly than your competitors, right? That is why it is said that it is very business environment, or having an understanding of business environment, or completely studying business environment, it is very much necessary for the businessmen to study the market, to study about the changes, what is like occurring, to understand and to be aware about the business environment. It is very much necessary. Why? Because it helps them to identify the opportunity, so that they do not lose any chance. Okay, so they do not lose any opportunity, and they get the first mover advantage. In this way they will move first, they will take the first chance against the competitors. Okay, and they will be benefited prior to the competitors. For example, see, general examples. Maruti was the first company to recognize the need of small cars in the environment. Because of the rising petrol prices, many, like for example, it was in the case study that because of the rising petrol prices, many like middle class family or low to the middle class family, they were not able to what they were not able to afford this, the cars and all. So in that market, when the market was very costly, and there was very less demand for the, like there was very less, like people were demanding the cars in the low price. Okay, so in that condition, Maruti was the company who actually understood the consumer, who actually understood the environment, and he like that company, Maruti company, then launched the small cars. Okay, with the less price. Okay, in the same way, see, WhatsApp was the first application for mobile chat. Afterwards, many other applications came, but still, WhatsApp is number one in mobile chat. So many, like these examples are many examples are there. Many examples are there which actually proves that the business has to take the advantage from the society. Okay, they have to actually sense that what the customer demands, they have to sense what the customer needs and what the market needs, and according to that they have to identify the opportunity, they have to get the opportunity, and they have to become what, they have to come first then their competitors. They have to, like they will be, if they will identify the opportunity in the right time, then definitely they will get the benefit prior to their competitors. Now, the next is identification of threats and early warning signals. Correct knowledge of the business environment helps an organization to identify those threats which may adversely affect its operation. For example, Bajaj Auto made considerable improvements in its two wheelers when Honda and other multinational companies entered in auto industry. See, It is very much necessary for the like business organization, because it helps them to identify the threats. Okay, what can be the threats, or what can be the difficulties, or what can be the warning signals for them. Okay, they need to identify, as in the first point we have studied, that the business need to identify the opportunity. Wherever they get the opportunity, they should grab the opportunity. Plus, at the same time, the business environment also helps them to identify the threat. Means the business, if the businessman is very much focused, and the businessman is very much aware about the market, then he can easily come to know what all the difficulties are upcoming in the market, what are the negative things are coming, whatever the constraints are upcoming in the business environment, so that he can avoid all those things. Okay, for example, see, Bajaj Auto made considerable improvement in two wheelers. See, in an like in business, many com- companies, as I told you, produce same kind of product. Okay, and when they come in the market, they compete with each other, so they have to improve their products, they have to do something extra, or they have to do something good or something extra which the competitors don't have. So in that way, it is said that when the Honda and other multinational company actually entered in the automobile industry, the Bajaj was already established that time. Okay, so they have to make improvement in their two wheelers, because if they will not improve, then the company or the business houses which are coming recently with the latest technologies and with the latest amendments, okay, so they will be benefited more, means they will get more benefit in the market, and the other company will get suppressed. So that is why business environment, or the scanning of the business environment, or the understanding of the business environment, is very essential for the businessmen, so that they can identify the threats, what all the difficulties are coming, what all the constraints are there in the business environment, and they can avoid all those constraints. Next is tapping useful resources. Tapping useful resources means what? See, business environment makes available various resources such as capital, labor, machine, raw material, etc. to a business firm. In order to know the availability of resources and making them available on time at economical price, knowledge of business environment is necessary. Useful resources. See, what all resources a business firm require. A business firm requires capital, labor, machines, raw materials, etc. These are the resources like money, men, machine, raw material. With the help of these resources only, the business firm can run. So, tapping useful resources means the businessman should learn about the business environment, should scan the business environment, so that he can actually acquire all these resources on time. Okay, so like what happens, sometimes it happens that suddenly the demand of some products increases, like the customer demands the product, like the demands of some products increases. So at that time, the company or the business house must have the raw materials with them in the warehouse as a stock, so that they can use the raw material at that time, and they can produce the output or the products which are demanded by the customers. Okay, so the increase, due to the increase in demand, the company or the business house will be able to manufacture those products. Okay, if in case he does not, like he like there are sort of resources, or he like the business houses don't have enough resources with them, then how will be they able to meet the demands of the customers? Okay, so that is why it is very much necessary. And see, these resources are the resources which are very like these are very important resources. Without them, the production work, or without them, the activities of the business cannot, the activities of the business cannot be performed. Okay, so and those resources are not like present in abundant. Okay, they have to be acquired, because those resources are very less, and it is very necessary for the businessmen to acquire all those resources in time. Okay, otherwise they will not be able to stand in the market. That is why it is necessary that whatever the resources are, they have to acquire all the resources, keeping in mind the output demanded in the environment. Okay, because these resources are not like these are the resources which are not in abundant quantity. Okay, these are not present in large quantity. Okay, these are the resources which generally gets exhausted at some time. Coming to the next point, that is coping with rapid changes. Coping with rapid changes means whatever the changes are, the business has to cope up with those changes. For example, continuous steady scanning of business environment helps in knowing the changes which are taking place, and thus they can be faced effectively by developing suitable course of action. For example, continuous study and scanning of the business environment means the business here should do continuous study, and the scanning of the business environment means the businessman or the business house should continuously study about the business environment, what all changes are coming. They should have the knowledge of the market, they should have the knowledge about the changes which are occurring, which are taking place, and thus they be faced effectively by developing suitable course of action. If they had the knowledge about all those things, then definitely they will develop some method to tackle those what situations. Okay, if they do not have the knowledge about the environment, then they will not be able to face those environment. That is why it is very much necessary that whatever the changes are, to cope up with the changes, the businessman or the business house should continuous study and scan the business environment. Coming to the next point, that is assistance in planning and policy formulation, means studying about the business environment or having the knowledge about the business environment helps us in planning and policy formulation. How? Understanding and analysis of business environment helps in organization planning and policy formulation. For example, ITC hotels planned new hotels in India after observing boom in tourism sector. As the tourism sector was a profit making sector, as the tourism sector was developing, as it was growing, the sector was growing, so here the different hotels planned to what establish new hotels, because obviously if that sector is growing, then their business will also grow. So they started to establish new hotels, so that they get more benefit out of that. Okay, so according to the changes occurring in the environment, the business plan their things, what all things they have to do, and they have to plan the policies also of their organization according to the changing environment. Coming to the last, that is it helps in improving performance. Correct analysis and continuous monitoring of business environment not only means not only helps an organization in improving its performance, but also continue to succeed in the market for longer times. Okay, correct analysis and continuous monitoring means the business here should do correct analysis and continuous monitoring of business environment, means they should do continuous monitoring, they should do continuous scanning of the business environment. They should study about the business environment continuously. From time to time, they should keep on studying the business environment continuously. They should analyze each and every situation very nicely. Okay, so that it helps the business to improve their performance, because it is very much necessary to keep an eye on the environment. Okay, whatever the changes are, they should continuously study those changes, they should continuously monitor those changes, because that will only help them to improve their performance. According to those changes only, they will be able to make the changes in the company, and if they are aware of the changes, then definitely they will try to improve the situations, and they will try to perform better. In that way, there will be improvement in performance of the business. So these were the importance of the business environment. Means the first was that the business environment, it helps in identification of opportunities to get the first mover advantage. Okay, it means that maximum benefits or profit by grabbing the opportunity as at the earliest. Okay, number 2, identification of threats and early, this is early. Okay, the early warning signals. Generally, through business environment, we come to know in advance for the coming constraints or threats of business due to scan of environment. Okay, then we will, and then only we'll get to know about the warning signal, and so that we can avoid those signals, warning signals, or we can avoid those threats. Now, the third is tapping useful resources. Tapping useful resources means collecting right type of resources as per present requirement of the business by generally forcing the requirements due to scan of business environment. It means that we should collect the right type of resources for our present requirement. Okay, by what? By forcing the requirement. Okay, by seeing whatever we need in the future. Next is coping with rapid changes. Coping with rapid changes means it's very simple, bringing changes in your organization as per the changes in the environment, like being innovative and adopting new latest technologies, okay, latest method of production, etc. Fifth is assistance in planning and policy formulation. It means that making plans and policies keeping in mind the conditions prevailing in the environment. Okay. Sixth is it helps in improving performance with timely changes and innovation performance improve. Okay, because with the change in time and with adopting the new innovations, okay, there is improvement in the performance of the business houses. Now, these were the importance of business environment. So here we have studied the meaning of business environment, nature, features and characteristics of business environment, and importance of business environment, that why it is necessary to understand or to scan the business environment or to study the business environment continuously.